All right, I want to talk to you guys about the City Squad Hub Squad relationship. These two groups are actually meant to work very well together. It was created this way on purpose to where the Metroplex wide group that covers the entire Metroplex, in our case DFW, now includes people from every corner of the Metroplex, which is a good thing to help establish growth, to help to establish a whole culture inside of a Metroplex or a metropolitan area together. But we really want that to actually very deeply connected to all of the city squads in a whole number of ways, because these two things should feed off of each other. They should very much help each other. They should stay very connected to each other. And I'm going to talk about all the reasons why and all the ways that we can actually help to implement that, because it really provides visibility, shared identity across the board, momentum across all cities for both group growth and culture growth. And the events piece of this is important as well. So really the whole hub, or excuse me, the hub exists to unite all of the city squads together under a shared identity. The hub exists to actually keep all of the city squads connected so that there's not a city squad off by itself in isolation doing its own thing, just trying to only focus on its own city, which is a big part of that, but being connected both to the hub squad as well as to other city squads. It actually helps give them metro wide visibility into their own city squad for a number of reasons. So, first of all, group growth. Group growth is a really important aspect of why these things are connected. Because if the hub relied on only the hub to grow the hub, it would be limited. If the city squad relied on only the city squad to grow their own city group, that would be limited also. And so, for example, growing the DFW hub, actually, a lot of what we do is engage other neighborhood groups all over the DFW Metroplex. And we'll have a long session about how to do that, what group growth looks like. But that means we have people coming from every single corner, in our case in DFW, of the entire Metroplex, to where now there's people coming from Denton, there's people coming from Benbrook, there's people coming from Rockwall, all over the place. To where now, as we begin to establish city squads, and that city squad has a responsibility to recruit new members into that group, ultimately, the hub group already has a bunch of people from Denton inside of this group. So when we make announcements in the hub about things happening in the city or new cities, automatically result of that is that the people that are in Denton are going to join a Denton squad, or the people that are in Benbrook are going to join a Benbrook squad. So the hub actually helps create growth for the city squads, but the thing about that is that it's also vice versa, to where the city squad, as a city leader, you're going to have conversations with people who are not a part of the hub. You're going to have conversations with people inside of your community, either business owners or relationships that you have, or in your neighborhood groups that you're posting into, where they didn't even know about DFW Dad Squad. And as you grow, we grow, but as we grow, you grow. So that should create a very cyclical cycle of perpetual growth for both pieces of this, to where now the community expands rapidly instead of being limited to its own growth, but relying on this thing altogether specifically. Another piece of this is actually events. So, as a city leader, one of your responsibilities is to host events inside of the group. And so you have people inside of your own city that will all want to attend these events. However, the reality is, in Metroplex areas like this, there's people traveling all over the place. They're all over the Metroplex all week long, different corners. And so, one responsibility that you have is anytime you have an event that's posted inside of your city group, you must also post that event in the hub group for the sake of this. If there's a dad who is in Denton and lives in Denton, he's a part of a Denton squad, but he's in the hub squad, and he sees that this Thursday there's an event happening in Benbrook, and he's going to actually be in Benbrook with his family on that night. Now he actually then begins to go to these events that are Dad Squad hosted events all over the entire Metroplex, to where he can begin to be connected all over the Metroplex in this Dad Squad brotherhood that we have, and their families can meet each other, or they can establish more relationships, more connections, to where the events that are happening in your city are actually being exposed to all the other people that are all over the other corners of the Metroplex, to where that can actually increase attendance at your own event. and get more people at your own event. And so the goal is that you would actually host events, post them inside of the Hub Squad so that even more people from all over the Metroplex can often come to your events as well. One other thing that's required is to maintain a pinned post at the top of your page. And when I create your groups, I actually make this post. I make this post as a pinned featured post inside of your group that actually includes a direct link to the DFW Hub. And so that's like a directory to where they can always have access, be made aware that there's a Metroplex wide group, because there's some times where the Metro is going to actually host events that are Metro wide. For instance, we have a golf tournament, and golf tournament is like, we want everybody all over the Metroplex to come participate in the golf tournament. So there will be Metro wide events that we also want city participants to be able to join in. And so you have a pinned post, but you'll also be asked to make posts about the Hub Squad regularly, just as what we will do in the Hub Squad is to make posts for people in Benbrook or make posts for people in Denton and try to encourage them, and then welcome new city leaders to get people back in there. And that's what I'm saying. When we rely on each other, that's the whole two are better than one. They have a greater return for their work. When we do that, that just allows the culture to grow a lot more rapidly. And so I think it's important that we just don't allow City Squad leaders to be isolated. Every county leader is hosting calls with city leaders every single month. Part of that is just so that you don't get stuck on an island in your own place, just having to figure this all out on your own. You're now in a community of other City Squad leaders who can collaborate, who can feedback, who can even have events with each other and develop relationships with each other. Whenever you're in isolation, the attendance, the participation, the events that are going to happen are actually going to be less effective. But when city squads and hub squads and other city squads all connected to each other, attendance grows, trust actually begins to be built even further. Leaders begin to learn from one another and establish other relationships with each other. And so always encourage hub membership. Share your hub announcements locally. But one other thing that I want to talk about is content. Feel free to connect to other city squads. Connect to the hub squad, to where if you see in the hub squad that there's a topic that is getting so much engagement that clearly people like to talk about, go replicate that in your group and talk about these things with your dad to encourage engagement there. And the same is true for us. If you guys are making posts and we're observing like, man, this content's working, or this event actually was really successful for them, let's do that over here on our side. These things all working together just create an ecosystem of trust, more consistent opportunities to spend time with each other, and then we can all build from there together.